Hello, movie lovers. The Duckster here, and today I'll be talking about my top 5 roles that Idris Elba played. So buckle up and enjoy the list. We start off the list with the movie The Harder They Fall, where Idris plays the role of outlaw Rufus Book. Rufus was the main antagonist in the movie as he killed the protagonist's father and mother when he was just a kid. To add insult to injury, Rufus then brands the kid with a cross to his forehead, which he is stuck with for the rest of his life. Rufus was a merciless killer who struck fear in everyone that heard his name. You really hated the guy for 90% of the movie, and then you get to the end and then you say, oh, well, he's not too bad. Oh, never mind. Yeah, what a total jerk. Idris did a really good job at making you hate him as a villain, and that's what made this role so good. He was cold-hearted and greedy, just like a good villain should be. If you're a Marvel fan, then you are definitely excited to see Idris appear as the guardian of the Bifrost, Heimdall. As one of the top Asgardian warriors, Heimdall protected the people of Asgard from intruders, and he played a very pivotal role in the multiple movies that he was in. Whether it be helping Thor in tight spaces to sacrificing himself to get Hulk back to Earth, Heimdall was a man of his people up until his last breath. Idris did such a great job as Heimdall, whom he played as someone who was serious and duty-driven. He cared for everyone in Asgard as if they were all part of his family. The amount of compassion Idris put into his role as Heimdall made his sudden death in Infinity War such a heart-wrenching event. Next up on the list is Idris' role as Marshal Stacker Pentecost in Pacific Rim. In this role, Idris was the commanding officer of the Pan-Pacific Defense Force. Their mission? To defend the Earth against the alien monsters that were coming out from a portal in the Pacific Ocean. Marshall was a tough and strict commander whose booming voice made it clear who was in control. His toughness and no-nonsense attitude towards both his troops, but also to his adopted daughter, showed he was not a person who picked favorites. But what Idris did so well as Marshal was that despite his hard exterior, he was a loving father and he would sacrifice himself to protect her and the Earth. At the beginning of the movie, he is seen as a harsh character, but at the end of the movie, you understand why he is the way he is, which made it even sadder to see him go. Number 2 on the list is Luther. In Luther, Idris plays the role of John Luther, who is the detective chief inspector in the Serious Crime Unit. His job is to track down serial killers and bring them to justice. However, in order to be successful, he must get into the mindset of these killers, which slowly pervades into his own personal life and actions. One thing is for sure, Luther is dedicated to justice and his work. What Idris does so well is his ability to run the gamut of emotions in every episode. In a single episode, he can be violent and blunt, then switch over to being emotional and empathetic. The way Idris depicts Luther's constant struggle that he has to endure, both mentally and physically, is just so well done that you really feel for his character. The way Luther outsmarts the bad guy is also just so rewarding, and it made this role all the more satisfying. Now, before I get to number 1 on my list, I did have some honorable mentions. First up on the honorable mentions list is the character Charlie Jaffe, who Idris played in the movie Molly's Game. Number 2 on the honorable mentions list is Tango, who Idris played in the movie American Gangster. And finally, number 3 on the honorable mentions list is Dr. Ben Bass, who Idris played in the movie The Mountain Between Us. Finally, we get to number 1 on the list, which is The Wire. In The Wire, he plays the role of Baltimore drug lord Stringer Bell, who uses finesse to attempt to revive a failing drug trading organization that he inherits. Idris did a phenomenal job portraying Stringer Bell, whose intelligence and cerebral actions made him a scary antagonist. To the public, he was charismatic and diplomatic, but behind closed doors, he was ruthless and aggressive. What made him such a great character was his practicality in running the business, where he thought of the future instead of the just now. Idris did such a great job with Stringer that I really felt he was from Baltimore, especially with his accent, where there were no signs that he was actually British. He did so well that up until his death in the show, I was rooting for him to live. And that speaks volumes to Idris's acting, since there aren't many bad guys that you usually root for in a show.
Well, get on with it, motherfucker.
And that, folks, is my top 5 list of roles that Idris Elba played in either a movie or a TV show. And last but not least, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching this episode. Till next time, movie lovers.